Here's some boba ASMR. Wait, I can't do this. This is too weird. Hello, my name is Lizzie. I am 3.5 months into my self-learning journey, and the point of my videos is to document my experience very candidly. So here's a candid vlog. Today I got some boba to celebrate. So what I'm celebrating today, 2 reasons. One is that yesterday I received my 2nd dose of the Pfizer vaccine. My body is withstanding the symptoms, which include body aches, migraine, and a runny nose. And second is that I submitted my application to the HubSpot Associate User Experience Rotational Program, and it's super exciting because this is the first time that I'm applying for a UX role, and I'm just really hoping that I get to move forward into the interview process. Yeah, fingers crossed. Now I'm going to insert a clip of me explaining a little bit more about what this program is, and also my process of creating my design resume from my government-based resume. Yo, what is good? I'm going to share with you a little bit of what I'm doing today as a self-learner, and that is creating my design resume to submit to a job. So I'm actually going to walk you through the process of my actionable steps I'm taking to apply to this job. It's actually mad funny because I am not job ready, meaning that I don't have a portfolio launched online because I'm only assigned a pro bono case right now and I'm still working on it. So I don't have anything completed to showcase on my portfolio. So then now you're like, well, why are you applying to this job? Well, listen, this job is unique in that it does not require a portfolio. It only requires 2 things. 1 is a resume, and 2, that you've demonstrated a commitment to learning UX design. All right, to provide specifics on the actual job opportunity that I'm applying for, it's hosted by HubSpot, and it's called their Associate User Experience Rotational Program. So it's broken up into 3 phases. The first one is the learn phase. So the emphasis is for you to learn the fundamentals of UX design while also working on projects. The second part is more focused on growing, so growing your skill sets that you've learned in stage 1. And then the third stage is execute. So actually integrating you into these team projects for you to work on as a UX designer. So this just seems to be a really cool opportunity for someone like me who has demonstrated a commitment to UX design. It would just provide a solid foundation of industry experience. So that would be a really cool starting place for me, especially because nowadays it's super hard to break into UX. So what I'm doing right now is I am reworking my resume from my standard OG resume that I've used in the past in my government career, and reworking that into a design industry appropriate resume, which look entirely different. So for my government resume, it's pretty text heavy, and that is encouraged in the government space, but in the design space, what's encouraged out of a resume is more of a minimal look, but still be packed with enough information so that a hiring manager can glean it and understand who you are as a designer and what skill sets you can bring to the table. So right now I'm trying to extrapolate relevant information from my OG resume and work that into this new design resume. The software that I am using to create my design resume is Figma. I am getting guidance throughout this process. So I have a UX design mentor that I work with on my pro bono case, but I decided to reach out to him about this prospective opportunity because he is a hiring manager in his agency. Well, that's one of the hats that he wears. He wears a lot of different hats in his agency. So we had a video chat about an hour ago, and he provided me with a lot of direction in how to take my design resume. So I feel good about it. So leaving our meeting call, my task is to work on my resume, create a draft, and then send it off to him over the weekend to review. And then once he reviews it and provides feedback, I can go ahead and draft up a second version, and then I'm going to send that off to this job. All right, so now that you saw me in my habitat, I have since then submitted the job application. Okay, so let me share what I really like that I did in this process that I'm going to take with me moving forward, and also something that maybe you guys can learn from too in your job application process. I like that I first discovered this opportunity before the applications were open. So what this allowed me to do was to prepare what I needed so that I can spend the time I had up until the closing date of the application to prepare my application to be at its best. So this application opened up, I think, around April 8th, and I learned of this opportunity probably a week ahead, and so I immediately looked at what the requirements were in order to apply. So because this application only required 2 things that I could deliver right now, so one is that you've demonstrated your commitment to becoming a UX designer, and second is a design resume and cover letter. I knew that those were things that I can work on in the meantime. So even before the application date opened up, I already was working on my design resume, and I have already contacted one of my mentors about this opportunity and let him know that this is something that I am prospecting and am hoping to apply for. So already communicating this with him, I give him time in advance to know that I'm going to be reaching back out to him for feedback on my resume. And so this is a good way to maintain a healthy and respectful relationship with your mentor, because oftentimes mentors have a very busy schedule, and the time that they are dedicating to you is time out of work, and so you want to be mindful of this. Just try to give them a heads up when you can. So previously, especially in my college days, I used to have a very bad habit of being a procrastinator, just waiting to the last minute to submit my assignments, and I really am trying to not do that and just build a healthy relationship with deadlines. Because I made sure that I knew exactly when the opening and closing dates of the application, I was able to give myself a lot of time and grace to take my time in this process. The benefits of doing this is that I have time to create multiple drafts of both my resume and my cover letter, shoot them off to my mentors, and get feedback. Okay, now let me get into my L. So although I did give myself enough time to have hours to spare before the deadline, I have this anxious tendency to just look over my application multiple times, just look for granular errors. And I mean, this is great, but I think after the 5th time, it just becomes a little bit excessive, and it just feeds into this anxiety-inducing process cycle that I go through. And I pushed myself to the point where I only had 15 minutes left to submit my entire application to the HubSpot career portal. And I then realized that I forgot to download a PDF format of my resume, which was hosted on Figma. And mind you, I only started to learn Figma last week, and so I'm still new to the software. And for some reason, the way that you download your frame is a little bit more technical than what it is on, say, Google Drive or Microsoft Word. And so, oh my god, I was so anxious that I ended up uploading a PDF of my resume, but I have an icon next to my name, and I didn't download it properly, so that my resume that I submitted to HubSpot is basically my resume, and then the icon that's supposed to be next to my name is at the very bottom as like a first page and then a second page with the icon. So it looks so stupid because now there's a blank space near my name at the header, and I just really hope that the content of my resume, my credentials, and my cover letter will carry me through the next interview so that I can explain what happened there, and that it really just is not me having an incompetent eye of the weird layout of my resume now because of that missing icon. And again, yesterday I received my second dose of the COVID vaccine shot, and so my body was aching after submitting the application, and especially with this disappointment when I realized what I did, I just took my ass to bed and I stayed there laying in bed for about 2 hours. But then, just being the highly ambitious person that I am, I hate feeling like a potato sack in bed, so I just then took my ass out of bed and was like, I need to do something productive. So that's why I was like, let's go get some boba, and then we can just read some design book when I get home. So please excuse the lower quality of this video. Like I mentioned in my last video where I reflected on my 3-month mark, I am trying to do a better job at prioritizing my time, especially because of my second dose of the COVID vaccine that I received this week. I just can't upload a higher quality video, but next week I'm going to work towards that. So please bear with me. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all later.